TCI is brought to you by Escandarea, the most dominant 3-year-old this decade. Seeing is believing at eskyonthego.com.
Welcome back to TCI's On the Clock, where we discuss key races and topics leading up to the Breeders' Cup alongside Ed DeRosa and Joel Cunningham. I'm John Siegel. All right, guys, before we talk about this week's show, I want to know, last weekend, which race do you think will most likely affect the Breeders' Cup? Ed, you first.
I'm beating the drum for the West Coast fillies. I think it's an overlooked division with Royal Delton. It's tricky. I loved what we saw from Include Me Out in the Clement Hirsch. I think she's going to be a force on dirt at Santa Anita. And I thought Amani made a great run, too, in her first North American start. So I really liked what I saw in the Clement Hirsch.
Good pick. I agree. Include Me Out showed her class even on poly track to get the job done.
Absolutely.
Amani too far back, but for her first run in North America, I thought it was promising, especially when you figure mile and eighth on dirt in the Santa Anita, you know, for the Ladies Classic,
right.
John. But I'm going to have to go with Fort Larned in the Whitney. Again, here's a colt that just keeps getting better. He's fast enough now. If he replicates that performance in the Whitney, he's on the board in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I'm just starting to wonder how good this older division is, because no one can string together 2 Grade 1 wins except Ron the Greek, who is getting weight in both of his. So the Woodward, to me, is going to be really telling, as we've talked about before. Mucho Macho Man in the mix, some of the Whitney horses,
But the fact that he is now controlling that speed, able to rate and finish off a fast pace, not have to be so headstrong. He's out of a broad brush mare. Bayakoa is a second dam. A lot of stamina influences to think that he'll have success at a mile and a quarter. So again, in a weak division, the fact that he's getting better, you have to be encouraged.
Yeah, it's a compelling group.
All right, guys, we've talked about older horses. The 3-year-olds have had their time here on the show. Today it's time for baby talk. That's right, we're going to talk about the 2-year-old division. Finally, we've waited for these horses to develop, and now I've asked you guys to pick your top colts and your top fillies. Let's go colts first. Ed, you picked Spurious Precision, and Joel C., you went with Palace Malice. Let's put both of these horses head-to-head and tell me why your horse would win if they were run right now. You go first.
All right, if they're running November around 2 turns, I like Palace Malice. The reason I like this colt, John, is he, sort of catches your imagination for what he could be. It's by Curlin, out of a stakes runner, around 2 turns. The fact that he showed some quality already, I think he projects again down the road in that Breeders' Cup picture. But if they ran right now at 6 or 7 furlongs, Ed's horse would beat me. But going around 2 turns down the road, that's why I like Palace Malice. And it's a cool name, and Dogwood's back in the picture.
Well, I definitely think you said waiting for horses to develop, and I think we're still waiting. I don't think Spurious Precision's a horse that we're going to be talking about in a classic sense come next April.
Right.
But from right now, what I saw in that maiden race, he's clearly the boss, and he's going to run 6.5 furlongs on Sunday. At distance, I would definitely take him over your horse, certainly at 7 furlongs, maybe even a 1-turn mile. And that's all we know from this group for right now, so he's on top.
And one caveat is, have we seen any really good, dominant 2-year-old colts yet?
No, not in the way we have the fillies, which we're about to talk about.
Well, let's go ahead and jump right in. Perfect lead in here. Let's talk about the fillies. JC, you're going with Executive Privilege, and you stay on the East Coast with Kauai Katie. Put those two together. Who wins right now?
Right now, I think Kauai Katie wins, and unlike the Colts, I think she wins even in November around 2 turns. I just think with her, from what we saw in the mating, the keywords are controlling speed. I think she's going to get on the lead. I think she'll be very tough to catch, even in front of a horse like Executive Privilege, who I like so much. 3 or 4 weeks ago, I called her the most likely of all Breeders' Cup winners. Always a tenuous position with 2-year-olds because you never know what we're going to see, and we saw Kauai Katie, and to me, she's the winner.
Yeah, I don't think so around 2 turns. Kauai Katie is a brilliant filly. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she's a historic filly. To run as fast as she did first time out, 2-year-old fillies don't do that. But I think it's indicative that she's a sprinter. When you look at her dam, that More Than Pretty, she was more of a sprinter type. I don't see her going around 2 turns. Right now, from 5 to 7 furlongs, you probably beat me. In November, around 2 turns, I've got you.
I'm looking forward to watching that one. It's going to be great.
Well, we're going to have 2 of your horses in action this weekend. We're going to see Kauai Katie in the Adirondack, and we're also going to see Spurious Precision. Likely, he's going to be running in the Saratoga Special, a race that Union Rags won last year. Do you like his chances in there?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's the reason why I picked both of them on top, is I like the fact that they're coming back and running after those big maiden wins. A lot of times you see spaces between workouts. They're on the shelf. I mean, those races were so fast. You worry about how they come back, like with a horse like Bind, who Al Stahl had, who aired her first time out. She had some trouble getting back to top form. If Kauai Katie returns to that form in the Adirondack, it's lights out.
Yeah, I agree. And did you expect him to pick against Spurrier's Precision? I do agree. He's going to be tough in the Saratoga Special, but I don't think it's a very good group. You know, Shanghai Bobby could give him some problems in there, but Kauai Katie's the story of the weekend. I think she's a standout in the Adirondack. John, the only thing that gets her beat, in my opinion, is the gate. If she comes out of it well, settles early, she's your winner.
All right, guys, you know what time it is now.
But look, my feeling, executive privilege, she ran well last night in Sorrento. Everything went smooth, and I think, again, progressing around 2 turns when you're going to see her best.
Looking forward to it.
Well, it's time. We got to tackle the topics. What I want to talk about today is breeding to race. You know, it's a topic that comes up in the industry every so often, and we're starting to see some success. Most notably, I would say Stone Street here at Saratoga. You know, this was Jess's dream. He actually had the horse was named that, Rachel Alexander's Curlin Foal. But this was his dream, to see these horses and to breed the best race horses, and now we're seeing this tremendous success. What do you think?
I love it. I think it's been a lot of fun. From my standpoint, it seems like fans are getting behind it more too. They're associating horses with outfits again, like you used to hear about people with Phipps and Claiborne and things like that. And I'd give even some credit to Blame a couple years ago. I mean, here was a homebred who won the Breeders' Cup Classic, champion older male, beat Zenyatta. I think a lot of people are noticing that you can have a great program where you're breeding your own. Don't necessarily have to focus on sales. You can if that's your bag. Stone Street even sells some at market.
Right.
But certainly being able to breed and have your name attached to, hey, I created this horse, is gaining a lot of cachet, and I think it's great for the game.
Well, they're all about quality, John. They put the money where their mouth is. John Moynihan does a tremendous job buying horses off the track, buying them at sales, and then obviously pairing up the matings there. You know, they have 3 top 2-year-olds right now. Team Pauline broke a track record at Saratoga. You know, she looks like more of a sprinter to me. You know, and then we obviously talked about Kauai Katie, but, you know, I think really their Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies candidate to repeat this year on the success they had last year could be Dreaming of Julia. You know, here's a filly that didn't run that fast first time out, but won easy. She's by AP Indy, and her ability to, again, progress as the distances get, you know, further around 2 turns, I think she's going to have success there. So they are loaded right now in the 2-year-old picture, so we're seeing that that dream come to fruition for Jess.
Well, what I'm most excited about is I think it's that passion that keeps these guys in the industry, is to breed that best racehorse. I mean, you can always go and buy like they did before, but now they're breeding. I think it keeps them in the game, and that's what's exciting.
And it's infectious. I mean, Barbara Banke's Jess's widow, and she's still involved very heavily, which is great to see. She's naming horses after her kids. They're getting involved. Unfortunately, here in Lexington, we've seen some farms go by the wayside where the family wasn't as interested as the parents and grandparents, and that's a shame. So to see Stone Street have that legacy, to see Claiborne being able to build on its legacy through more than 100 years now, I mean, it's great for the game, and to see these horses have success is even better, because success breeds success.
I'm just surprised John didn't ask me if Hanson's Blue Tail got him beat in the West Virginia Derby.
No, I didn't have to ask you that. I know it did. I mean, the horse was completely washed out. I mean, I really do
too much lead in the blue paint.
Well, no, I think it's the circus. I don't think the horse does well, and I think it was a circus, and he looked completely washed out going into the race.
I'm picking him in the Travers, guys, so be ready for
Oh, boy. There'll be no Blue Tail, I promise you that.
That's right.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks for your input, and thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week. We'll recap the Saratoga Special and the Adirondack.